Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to another episode of the Kasim Show. This episode is going to be a slightly somber episode given the context of what we'll be discussing today. Abdinasir's unaliving 2 years ago on the 18th of February. So I just want to give you guys a background of who Abdinasir was, what happened to Abdinasir Deheble. Abdinasir was a son, father, and husband who firmly believed in, regardless of your circumstances, that you can achieve your goals and ambition. Abdinasir was born in the outskirts of Gebile, Somaliland, and went to primary school in both Hargeisa and Gebile. He later went on to study at Source Secondary School in Sheikh. He later graduated from Golis University in Hargeisa with a Bachelor in Engineering. Abdinasir was passionate about aviation and undertook training in Nairobi with Akawa for 9 months in 2016. He started working in aviation at Igal International Airport in Hargeisa from 2017 to 2019. Akawa at the time was managing both the airspaces for Somalia and Somaliland, and later sent contracts to the employees at Igal International Airport in Hargeisa under Somalia, which then of course led to the rejection of those contracts from the Somaliland government. Some of the employees were then forced to move over to Garowe and Mogadishu for further training and work. Abdinasir was one of those young people who moved to both Garowe and Mogadishu for his work in aviation, and this was in 2019. In 2021, Abdinasir started working in Aden Addi Airport in Mogadishu. On the 1st of January 2024, Somaliland and Ethiopia signed an MOU. February 2024, Somaliland took back its airspace, the government of Somalia. They started to then target Isar individuals living in Mogadishu and those who were specifically working in aviation at Aden Addi Airport. Abdinasir was, of course, one of those individuals. The reason for their targeting of the Isar aviation employees was because of the fact that they hailed from Somaliland. Ahmed Ma'alin Hassan, who is the General Director of Aviation in Somalia, was said to have sent threats to the ISAG employees who were working in aviation in Somalia, stating that they can hear all of their phone calls and they are watching their movements closely. On the 18th of February 2024, Abdinasir was unalived in his apartment in Mogadishu by Somalia's Secret Service, NISA. He was later found in his apartment by his roommates at 6 p.m. on the 18th of February after his family was seeking his whereabouts and they could not find him. There were clear signs of torture. It was visible, including a wire and a cord wrapped around his neck, swelling of his face, and the removal of his nails. Till this day, Somalia is refusing to acknowledge this tragedy and have not made any statements publicly. Somalia also has the possessions of Abdinasir, which includes his phone and his laptop, and refused to release it to his family, which creates greater suspicion. Somalia refused to send Abdinasir's body back to his family in Hargeisa, Somaliland, but due to international pressure, they released the body 8 days later. Somaliland's medical specialists did an autopsy. The autopsy found that his testicles were crushed and there was a crushing of his throat and other clear signs of torture. Somalia also turned off the fridge that Abdinasir was in the morgue in order for his body to decompose quicker. Abdinasir has left behind his wife and 2 daughters, one of which was not born when her father was unalived in Somalia. Abdinasir's family have set up a GoFundMe, which I will be linking below, and I'll be also inserting an image for you to reference. The GoFundMe will be going towards the legal costs of Abdinasir's case and will support the family in pursuing justice for Abdinasir. So please donate what you can. And I want to also send a message to Somalilanders. It is imperative and important that we stand beside Abdinasir and his family, and we also seek justice for Abdinasir. And it is a responsibility on all of us as Somalilanders.
Abdinasir's case, it's an important case for Somalilanders, especially the youngsters, to look at. It reminds us of the dark past that we went through to make of what a Somaliland is today. And I think, as you know, Kasim has put it perfectly, this is not new to Somalia and the authorities. They've done it again. They were trying to make a statement out of him, trying to send a signal to every Somalilander, be it in the aviation, in any field, profession, if there is one, that within Somalia that they happen to work at, they were a target. And the main reason behind it was simply being from the Republic of Somaliland. Abdinasir's case, it's one that I think the new generation needs to take it as a ground to know what it takes to be a Somalilander. And really and truly, we tend to forget quickly. And as you said, there's a GoFundMe, and the GoFundMe is for the legal costs to pursue justice for him, for his 2 daughters that he left behind, and for his wife. Sadly, one of the daughters, as you said, was not born yet, and she was born months later after the killing of her father, and the other one was too little to know anything. And I've met her personally, and you could see not only she misses her dad, she was looking left, right, center, everywhere, trying to figure out where her dad is. And it's going to be difficult for her mother to explain that to her in the near future when she understands things and try, to make her understand what her dad went through. And it wasn't a long time ago. It was just recently. And as his wife told us, she was on the phone call with him at that night. And she told us he had a difficult week leading to his death. She was saying that he was having discussion with her about his dissertation. And he happened to do a lot of research on about Somaliland's airspace, Somalia's airspace. And they were asking him, what have you written on that? During that's when the MOU was signed between Somaliland, the Republic of Somaliland, and the Federal Republic of Ethiopia. Mm-hmm. And Hassan Sheikh and his government and his, should I say, mafia. I don't call them national intelligence because they are mafia. Who would target a worker of their organizations, one of their organizations, just killing them because he happened to be an Isaac, happened to be from the Republic of Somaliland. That's exactly what happened. And as you said, they strangled him, they removed his nails, all of that just to, get a little information, whatever they believed he had, and he happened to have nothing. And after all, even after his killing, they tried to hide it, they tried to deny it. And the only reason they released his body to Somaliland, it wasn't because they were good humans. His father made a plea.
But they also offered money to Abdinasir's family in
for
order
his silence.
For their silence, but then also not to accept the body, which they of course refused.
Yeah. They tried to persuade them any way possible. Even his wife, they tried to contact her. They tried to, trying to find any way, linked to her, just to make sure that they, like they always do, intimidation and trying to, send, maybe buy their way out of this.
What I find really interesting is once something happens in Somalia, they're immediately suspicious of Somalilanders, specifically hailing from the Isaac clan, right? And it's like you said, historically they've targeted the Isaac clan, whether it was the G-side that happened in 1988, whether it was prior to that when they annexed Somaliland in the early 60s. It's something that is continuing to happen till this very day.
Yeah.
Recently, with the re-recognition of Somaliland by Israel, the current president of Somalia, Hassan Sheikh, made comments in regards to committing another G-side, using Turkey's military force, Saudi Arabia's military force to commit another G-side in Somaliland.
The Minister of Defense, he goes by the name of Fiqhi. He made plea on Al Jazeera live, speaking directly to Saudi Arabia, telling them come and attack Somaliland. If you think they've already murdered Abdinasir's the way they did, do you think they will care about the rest of Somaliland being not level to the ground? That's the request he made from Saudi Arabia. I think that's their goal in life. That's one thing that we know. And if anything that we could take from Abdinasir's case is that's what they wish on every Somalilander. That's the thing that they want to see. Fortunately for them, Somalilanders tend to focus, on what is ahead. They tend to forget what happened yesterday. But that's not the reality that we live in. You learn from yesterday.
Oh, you're condemned to repeat it.
Yes, just to avoid that happening again in the near future. And Abdinasir's case, I think I'm really disappointed with Somalilanders when it comes to the way that they handled Abdinasir's case, be it the government or the regular citizens or the diaspora, including us. We should have been speaking up more. We should have been taking Abdinasir's case to the highest level possible. And Somalia should be paying for these crimes, especially the things that happened very recently. Because as we know, his closest friends, roommates, happen to be from Somaliland. Are you telling me in the whole of Somalia's aviation, workers, they only happen to lock up the ones that are from Somaliland? 7 of them were locked up. Spent, I think, in Somalia's jails about maybe 6 months, close to a year plus. And the only crime was what? You are from Somaliland. You happen to be where Abdinasir was from. And you're going to pay. We're going to put that blame on you and you're going to take it up on your chin. And what happened after that? They found all of them not guilty to whatever that they were trying to put on them. Where was Somalilanders when it came to that, at least trying to speak up for these guys?
I mean, it makes you think, when do Somalilanders and when does the government of Somaliland say enough is enough? When are they going to finally stand up and say, we're going to hold Somalia accountable in the way that it should? And what more evidence does the international community need to see that Somalia is not a stable country? It's not a stable government. I mean, yes, there's acknowledgements of that, and they acknowledge that it isn't a fully functioning country and it's a failed state. Fine. But when do we hold them accountable for their crimes? When do we hold them accountable for the crimes that they've committed against Abdinasir and his family?
I believe that starts with Somaliland's government. Yes, these people happen to be working in Somalia, right? Whose fault is that? The Somaliland's government. The body has returned to Somaliland. Somaliland has done its own research. They found Somalia to be guilty to everything that happened to Abdinasir. Have they taken it further? The answer is no. The previous governments, when Musabihi was in charge, what has he done about Abdinasir's case?
Nothing.
The new government, what have they done?
Nothing.
To Abdinasir's case. Have they contacted the family, his wife, trying to achieve, understand what went wrong? And how can they avoid them in the near future? They haven't done anything. So I think the blame starts with both on Somaliland citizens and Somaliland government first, because the Somaliland government is the one that needs to chase up on this. Is the one that needs to, hold Somalians accountable.
Not to mention that the current government and the previous administration were all present when the Isaac genocide was happening. The targeting of Isaac people, some of them were targeted by Somalia a couple of decades ago. If it's still happening and continuing in 2024, 2025, 2026. I mean, when the international re-recognition of Somaliland happened with Israel recently, there were Isaac people in Somalia, specifically in Mogadishu, who were being attacked on the streets. The government of Somalia, Fiqi that you mentioned, who's the Minister of Defense of Somalia, was threatening Isaac civilians in Somalia, saying that they're going to be targets. The same word for Hassan Sheikh, where he also said he was going to be targeting Somaliland as a whole. When does Somaliland take these threats seriously? When do they take these actions seriously? Because it's now past the stage of threats. They're actively targeting Isaac people. They're unaliving Isaac people on the streets.
A prime example of that is, the Lasano crisis when it happened. You know who started it. It wasn't Somaliland. It wasn't the people of Somaliland. It wasn't conspiracy of Somalilanders trying to achieve something. No, it wasn't. It was directly by Somalia. And the prime example of that, the evidence is clear. When the military of Somaliland were near Las Anod, what did they find? They found military equipment that had Somalia's Ministry of Internal Affairs name tag on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's very clear who's pushing this ideology.
Yeah.
To top it all off as well, if you remember, what were they saying in the mosques? That killing an Isaac, it will take you to Jannah. That's exactly what they were saying. I don't know if you notice or not, but Isaacs are not the only one that lives in Somaliland, but they always try to frame Somaliland as an Isaac land.
Yeah.
Because their main goal is to eradicate one specific group, nothing else. And that happened to be an Isaac. They've tried it, they failed, and they're going to fail again. But the thing is, when is Somaliland's government going to take these threats seriously, as you said, because it is their responsibility to actually do something about it. You cannot just brush it off as just another, he say, she say. No, it's not. It's a serious threat that coming from supposedly a government. I don't believe they are a government, but they happen to have the support of the international bodies, right? And I think the accountability starts with us. And we need to hold our government accountable, because if they cannot, and I repeat, if they cannot guarantee the safety of the citizens of Somaliland, including everyone that happens to live within the borders of Somaliland, including the Isaacs that they are wishing to eradicate, I don't think they should be in power. They should vacate the space for someone that can actually deliver that promise. Because what's the guarantee? We've seen everything. Everything is on tape. It's on paper. We do not need any more evidence. Abdinasir is a prime example of that. Abdinasir happens to be working for them, not working for Somaliland. But he was killed because he's from Somaliland. And why are we being silent about it? You say 2 years anniversary, right?
Yeah.
2 years. And not a single step has been taken towards achieving the justice for him, for his little children and his wife. How do you think government of Somaliland going to protect the dignity of 6.7 million Somalilanders if they cannot achieve justice for one person, and a person that Abdinasir happens, all the evidence are there to take Somalians to court. Every evidence they need. It is 2026. The crime happened 2 years ago. What have they done? The previous organization, the previous government of Somaliland under Musabihi, what has he done? When he left the office, did he leave anything on the table that mentions Abdinasir's name?
I think what the Somaliland governments or different administrations, what they think is enough is weak statements, because the previous administration did release a statement. But it wasn't a statement that really condemned Somalia. It didn't really mention much about Somalia.
Why do you think so?
They think that...
I mean, Isaac genocide happened, right?
And they reduced it to atrocities.
They reduce it to atrocities. There's this word that they try to spread between the people of Somaliland. What do they say? That by slaya, that by delay. Is that actually the description of a genocide?
No.
Why do you think they do that? Because this old generation, I don't think they're here to serve the interests of the people of Somaliland. I'm sorry to say that, but I 100% believe that. Because if they do, Abdinasir's case was not going to be just another case. They would have done something about it. The guy that was in charge of Somaliland's aviation, he's chilling in Hargeisa. Has anyone hold him accountable? It was under his watch when that happened. The body was delivered to him. What has he done? The new guy that is in charge right now, has he taken the case further? He hasn't. Why? This question that every Somalilander needs to ask themselves. Why are we allowing this? Are we just going to sit around until another G-side happens? Is that what we're waiting for? Because I don't think this is just another incident that just you forgot about it. The Republic of Somaliland is built on the sweat and the blood of the citizens of Somaliland. People have paid blood for Somaliland to be where it is at today. And for these politicians to wear their cheap suits and just walk around in a fancy cars and just, take pictures and appear on conferences and just move on. Abdinasir's case shouldn't be, a topic between me and you. It should have been a topic that's being discussed in courts today as we speak. Do you know why is that keep occurring again and again and again? Because we Somalilanders tend to brush everything off. And I think this culture is not going to take us any further.
No. Something's got to give.
Something, absolutely. And I think we need to change.
Yeah.
And we need to change by asking the right questions to the right people, to the government of Somaliland. This case should not be a case that left for the, wife of the deceased Abdinasir. It should be a case for Somaliland.
Both people and government.
Both people and the government. It's a shame that we're asking people to actually, click on a GoFundMe page. They should be the one that actually making the effort to put everything on the table to achieve justice for him and for his little children that he left behind. If we as Somalilanders cannot do that for a single human being, how do you think that we can do justice for the rest of Somalilanders? It's questions that I keep on asking myself. In 2026, the government of Somaliland tend to make every case as if a normal case. This is not a normal case. This is something that a foreign government has done. What they call national intelligence, NISA.
So it was targeted. He was
targeted. Why are they being silent about it? Why are they not chasing up on that? That's a question that I leave for all Somalilanders to answer.
I think that concludes this episode. Please do subscribe to keep updated with affairs that are happening in Somaliland. Please do donate. I will leave the link in the bottom. And please do share that donation link as well. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.